Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case. I do have an important, unique demonstration highlighting the severity and the importance of the side-by-side incident or accident regarding Noah Presgrove at the party, because there's a lot more to it now from what Kaden Pressy had stated in that private interview with police, which dates back to June 2024. I do have a vehicle example roughly to demonstrate it. How it could have happened, what caused it to tip over, all those types of questions, and we can just really dig deep into it and then possibly apply it to the maps as well regarding the timing of when it supposedly happened, who saw it, is there any proof, and all of that. And we'll get to it bit by bit. But right now, welcome to those that are currently here watching this live premiere. Feel free to chat in the box on the right hand side of the screen. And by the end of this video, if your thoughts have changed, if you've got any questions, if you're watching on catch up, leave a comment down below under the video and I can always respond back later. You'll find a pinned message by me at the top with additional links if you do want to support this channel. Credit and shout out to those that have in recent time. I can give a heads up regarding upgrades later. That's just been sorted out in the background. But if anyone has missed out on important videos in recent time, even the one that I uploaded earlier today, be sure to check it out because I've got receipts, I've got proof, I've got all kinds of things I can whip out all over the place. I've got cards up my sleeves and I'm wearing short sleeve tops. So that's how you know it's all under control. But if you go to the top right corner of the screen up there, you'll find an I symbol. Click on that. Drop down menu, you'll find the full playlist with all the videos I've done and my most recent ones. Check them out when you do have time. So, do we need to give a backstory at this moment? No, I just want to get straight into it. I have it set up now. We've got the little table desk here, a bit more efficient this time around, more up close visually and everything. I've got like representation of the side-by-side. This is not officially a side-by-side, more like an off-road Jeep, but I'm only working with what I've got. But with it being kind of open top, it allows for being able to fit the people in and work it out. Obviously, it's not one-to-one scale, but these people kind of fit in. It's just to put it into perspective to understand, the motion of the vehicle, turning, twisting, and, the impact it would have had on Noah and anyone else involved. Because what we need to bring in first is, when did it actually happen, this accident or incident? Well, it was on Monday, but at what time? Around 2:40 a.m. And that's based off from that interview. So we'll get more into those details shortly, but you got a side-by-side and then you've got Noah Presgrove, the main individual. Now, who are we going to use as Noah? Let's just, we'll just use this person. Just pretend that's Noah Presgrove. Is it going to focus in? I think I've got it too far back. There you go. Just imagine that's Noah Presgrove. He's in the driver's seat. Okay? Driving about on the property, supposedly. But where exactly? Within the fields, as where the hunting took place, killing animals randomly? Or was it just closer to the party house property? The true location wasn't exactly given. Kaden Pressy didn't refer to the true location, but Jack Newton previously said that, and it was online, that it happened round the back of the property. And round the back is where you get the grass, so it would have been fairly soft. And if the vehicle did tip over there, there wouldn't be as much damage or scraping. So, okay, fair enough. But what about the individuals? Were any of them damaged? And we say individuals because, injured or not, it wasn't just Noah who was within the vehicle driving. You had passengers. How many did you actually have though? That's what the question is. How many passengers were present? And why did other people get into the vehicle? Are they strangers? Are they friends of Noah? How come no names, identities were given? Can anyone work that out? And you can leave your thoughts down below in the comment section or the chat. Why is it only Noah that's focused on? Why is it only Noah that supposedly needed a wash because he was all dirty? Why would he just be dirty when supposedly he's bloodied as well? You might think, well, how do you know that? Because that's what Kaden Pressy had said. How do we know the time it happened? Because that's what Kaden Pressy had said. But how would Kaden Pressy know if he was asleep at the time? Because 2 minutes later, that's when he said he woke up because of the phone call from Alicia Lee. So 2 minutes before, that's when supposedly the side-by-side occurred at. Supposedly, because of video footage, a timestamp of it, which he was shown to by whoever. I guess the one that recorded it. When did that footage come out? Well, it's not public from what I'm aware of, but maybe it's like the shower situation. Could have been posted, then retracted afterwards. How critical is it within the case? Who knows? I mean, Jack Newton said, well, there was no damage to the vehicle. It was perfectly okay. Nothing to see here, no issues, all fine and good. I believe it was sold on afterwards then for a boat, but it didn't sell immediately. It was just like up on the Facebook marketplace, I believe. Some people find that a little bit suspicious. So if the vehicle's okay, why would the person would the person be okay as well? Well, that's what Jack Newton said, but Kaden Pressy states differently. From the video footage which shows the side-by-side accident, whoever showed it to Kaden Pressy, the timestamp was provided as well, 2:40 in the morning, Monday. It also showed Noah Presgrove injured with a bloodied nose. How bad is that? Who knows? Is it broken? Don't know. Could it be a burst blood vessel or a cut? Who knows? If it's like a broken nose, if there's a lot of blood, whether that be coming out through the nostrils or down the throat, that can impact your breathing. And if it's not seen to, it could get worse. It could still put Noah at a disadvantage if he was to get into a fight or if he was ambushed. Harder to breathe. Oxygen levels not quite there. You know, it just puts you at a disadvantage. And yeah, we are skipping ahead, but what I just want to highlight is the importance, because Kaden Pressy, how he worded it, is quite a significant event now, but how Jack worded it in the past, who may or may not have been there to witness it, who knows, because Jack's the one claiming, oh, I was asleep when it happened. Jack Newton in bed with Carter Combs. Oh yeah, just like that, in bed, nothing to see, and it happens further away with whoever, and someone else records it. Were they recording it because they knew it was going to happen? Were they recording it when it happened? Who knows? But you know, you're at a party, all other kinds of things are being documented, no surprise. Supposedly from the story by Jack Newton is when Noah Presgrove, even before it actually happened, right? You had Noah Presgrove, and this is told from Jack Newton. So let's just use as an example. Let's just pretend this is Jack Newton. He's in bed with Carter Combs, both asleep. And Jack Newton is basing it off not what he saw at the time, but what Carter Combs saw, a witness. So it's like second-hand information being passed on, which isn't exactly ideal. So from what Carter Combs had said to Jack, Noah Presgrove walked into the bedroom, as you do, just walk on in, and I think looking for the key, get the keys, and then walking away. But in the process of that happening, Carter Combs was aware of it and saw it. Much conversation, I'm not too sure, but it still happened, and he walked off, Noah Presgrove, to get to the vehicle of Jack's. Obviously they go back to sleep, I'm guessing. As from Jack's point of view, from his timeline, even though it's not directly his, it's more so Carter Combs, and Carter Combs could, you know, have some inaccuracies, you never know. But whether they were there to witness it or not, it supposedly happened based off the video footage, what Kaden Pressy saw. So once again, Kaden Pressy is another individual talking about second-hand information. He wasn't there to see it, he was asleep, but he was shown the video footage of it. Now, Kaden Pressy did not mention any of this in the public Partners in True Crime interview, but he did in the private one, maybe for good reason. Sensitive information, but obviously it got leaked, kind of unfortunate. But what it does, it helps us realise the importance of that side-by-side. Not that it reinforces the death of Noah, because the video footage showed Noah still alive and okay, but he was injured. And when we talk about injuries, whether that be to do with the cause of death or injuries beforehand, those scrape marks on Noah's knuckles from a previous day of maybe punching a door or a wall, it's just trying to work out in what order did these follow in? Do some crossover with the autopsy or not? What's relevant to the death situation? What's not so relevant? What happened a day before or earlier on, which didn't complicate anything? Or are there certain injuries close together which did complicate things? Does the side-by-side fall in line with this? Do you get what I'm saying? That's what I want to be looking at. So you fast forward onwards around 2:40 in the morning, Noah Presgrove still at the party, supposedly. There you go. At 2 in the morning, just to bring it back a little bit, Kaden Pressy said he did see Noah Presgrove, Jack Newton, them lot in the kitchen area awake and alive, even though Jack said he was asleep by 2 in the morning, which seems to be a lie. Anyway, got the side-by-side, wherever it is, maybe it's parked on the front. Would it have been parked in the barn or shed area? That's, because there's been talks about that location being used for something, because the doors were open and closed whilst there, who knows? But Noah gets into the side-by-side, just fit him in with a cam. Oh, that'll do. So he's in the vehicle, driving around. The key thing is we don't know exactly where, and we don't know how long it took. The rollover may have occurred at 2:40, but how long was Noah driving for before that? How much distance did he make just driving around? Okay. But as I said, the importance is, and I can't fit it in because of the size of everything, there were passengers. How many? We don't know. Just forget about that being Carter for a second. I've only got limited people. Forget that being Jack. Let's just say these are random unnamed individuals. They were in the vehicle as well. But who were they? What were they doing? Bloody hell, can't fit them on. Okay, a handful of people. Can you see? Driving about. Did they trust Noah? Maybe. Were they just messing about? You got to take in mind the timing of all this, because I guess earlier on, Noah Presgrove wanted to go home, but no one would give him a lift back. So could he have took things into his own hands and tried leaving the property, driving away, but because of being drunk, he just couldn't do it successfully. And then that's what caused him to roll over. But the next question is, how do you roll over in the first place? I mean, you could be driving, oops, shit, one's already fallen off. Just imagine they're still in the vehicle. You could be driving along and take a sudden hard left or hard right. So you're driving along, like that, turn, and then it tips, right? Now, would it have flung Noah Presgrove out? It depends. Would he have been wearing a seatbelt? I don't know. Do side-by-sides have seatbelts? I'd think so, but maybe not everybody chooses to use them, and especially if it's on site of your property and you're not really going that far. So maybe at the time being reckless, not wearing a seatbelt. So if there was any sudden movement or a jolt, it could fling you out. Now, in terms of the side-by-sides, don't they have like a roll cage? This one doesn't because it's not an actual side-by-side, but if it's got a roll cage, doesn't it keep you compact within? But then again, if you're not buckled in, you could whack your head or your face or your nose on some of the metal bars possibly. So you might not fall out, but you can still hurt yourself inside. So yeah, we've got the driving really fast like this and doing a sudden turn, whether that be in the middle of the land or going around the building, who knows. Sudden turn, any drifting, if there was any drifting, right, like that, you get the tyre marks, the deep ruts in the ground, any skid marks. And you don't really hear much mention of that, right? Wouldn't it have been interesting to, you know, not that you can now, but if there was any photos or footage after the side-by-side accident, whether that be on the same day or a day later or maybe a week later, would there be any visible track marks on the dirt road and or on the grass around the back? If there was a rollover, there might have been some friction, some skid marks to the ground, and it would just reinforce it more, wouldn't it? So I think it depends how fast you're going. And suspension as well. Can you see how it can like rock side to side? So whoa, like whoa, and then roll over, or do it from this angle so you can actually see it a bit better. Roll, turns, takes a turn, and then, and depending what speed it's going at, sometimes when it does turn and roll with the momentum, it can cause it to scrape along the sides like that. And depending where you are within the vehicle, you could be scraping your own body or your head against the surface of the road. Now, what we really do need to acknowledge is, besides the other people being hurt or not, in America, what you drive on the wheels on the left-hand side, that side. So if it rolled over, would it have rolled over on Noah's side like that? Or if we do it the other way and he's on that side but tips on the other like that? Depends if he's strapped in. If you're strapped in and you're on this side, you'd be able to climb out, right? But if you're on the, like, you know where the passenger bit is? If you were there, oh, fuck's sake, you twat. Why this bitch does this? Motherfucker. It tips over that way. You know, you're making contact with the ground, whether you're still in the vehicle or not, and whether there's any movement going across, you're going to be scraping your face, your sides on the floor, depending if you do kind of fall out or hanging out of the vehicle slightly. You'd have to try and wiggle out, or you'd have to try and climb your way out somehow. You could be trapped within. It all depends, right? And as well, with the other people being present too, what condition were they in? You never hear that mention. It's all about Noah. But what about the passengers? Who were they, first of all? Who were these passengers? And what were they doing? Besides Noah, put him aside, what were these passengers doing? Were they just messing about? Who were they? Strangers? Texas boys? Was it Brylan? Was it Isaac? Was it Mikey? I don't know. Fucking desk. I mean, basing off the timing, 2:40. You got, who's it? You got Kaden Pressy, who's asleep around the time, which would mean probably Isaac, Brylan and Mikey were also asleep or resting by the side of Kaden Pressy. So what other guys would still be at the party? What other guys would be in that vehicle? Would it be JJ Bump Ass? Could it be Colton Newton? Could it be Travis Monson? What other people? It's likely going to be males, not females, right? Who else is going to go in that side by side with Noah during that rollover accident? Who else is at the party? What other named individuals? It might not be that significant, but by God, it's a difficult event to work out, isn't it? This is no different to the Dylan Rounds case when it came to Don Hatley's place of living. There was such a debacle of, oh, where's the coordinates? Oh, we don't know. Oh, it's actually over here. No, it's not. These are locals. Come on. And then it came to Warlight Raff. Yes, a bit later. And a big shout out to Skeptical, the catalyst, that managed to pinpoint the location and mark it out. Was it really significant? Was it really sensitive to the case? Nope. It was publicly revealed in the documentary, but it wasn't that clear to see at the time. Nevertheless, it just put things into perspective, right? And that's what you need. A case like this is no different. We need perspective of who was in the side-by-side with Noah at the time, 2:40 in the morning, Monday, where it rolled over like that, whether people fell out or trapped inside and needed help getting out, and then people assisting and helping with rolling it back over, preferably not on top of them. Roll it back over, boom. Right? It's that simple. But we just don't have those answers. Kaden Pressy said he saw the video and he saw Noah, but no mention of other named individuals, right? And something like this could apply to another situation with like what Jack was getting at. Oh, if Noah was in the back seat of a vehicle and then he fell off. Bloody hell, how was he stuck in? Oh, fell off like that and landed on his head and left on the side and then it drove off. But we're not focusing on that today. I'm just surprised that the stick figure actually fit in. Oh no, oh it doesn't now. Oh yeah, it doesn't now when I want it to. Yeah. Can I just fit him in? Wow. Oh my God, can I actually fit them all in at once? It didn't say how many people were in the side-by-side, but there was multiple. Right? Preferably, they would have been sat down, but still, you ain't got seatbelts on, you haven't got protection, you're in a tricky situation. And then depending which way you tip over, that can impact your injuries as well. If you haven't got a seatbelt on, you could roll about, you could literally fall out of the vehicle. And if it carries on rolling or moving, then the vehicle could collide with you, possibly. For Noah Presgrove to have damage to his nose only could be that he scraped it on the ground, if he did make contact with the ground, if he fell out, or if he bumped his head through the jolt of when it rolled, right? Roll, oh. Perfect, there we go, we got the demonstration done. I couldn't fit them all in, but I did them. Who's to say that they fell out, but you get the idea, don't you? So, that's why I just wanted to do that demonstration. What condition were the passengers in? We've heard about Noah, damage to the nose, but what about the others? Let's just go on to the maps to finalise. So if like demonstrations, reconstructions aren't quite your thing, we still have the maps which can be done. More so the left-hand side being the June timeline, whilst there's a lot of detail and maybe I need to still spread it out a bit because it's very close together. 2:42 a.m. Alicia Lee calls, Kaden Pressy wakes up regarding the cousin being successfully taken back home. But it's 2:40 a.m. 2 minutes beforehand, the video footage of Noah Presgrove hurt, Kaden Pressy seeing the video. But I don't think Kaden Pressy explained as to when he saw the video or who showed him it. But what I do remember then, it just so happened that previously in the past discussions online, whoever it was that mentioned it could have even been Jack Newton, something about the video footage being available, actual footage of the side-by-side rollover, which is pretty significant because being able to view that footage would determine what state physically and maybe mentally Noah was in. To even roll over in the first place, was that just down to recklessness or drunk driving, a combination of both? And more importantly, what condition were the passengers in and how did they feel after it? Were they frustrated or annoyed with Noah? Did they feel like they put trust into Noah and the life was gambled with and it could have gone much worse? Did anyone have a bad lasting taste in their mouth and wanted to take it out on Noah afterwards? How dare you tip this over and get us all dirty or injured or possibly injured or close to that? Let's take it out on him afterwards. Would there have been any retaliation from that? I mean, when it comes to Noah Presgrove, a good individual, prankster here and there, gets on well with a range of different people, flirts with a range of different people. But is there any point where you got on the wrong side of anyone, intentionally or not? I mean, you think of Saturday, right? I think I've even got it mentioned here. Saturday, from what Kaden said in the private interview, Noah Presgrove wrestled Mikey Lair outside. Some said Mikey Lair is into wrestling too, but Noah Presgrove still won and did well. Did Mikey feel frustrated by that? Any tension? Who knows? And then the next thing being Noah having a go at Jack Newton, not the other way around, because of Jack supposedly flirting with Noah's girlfriend who wasn't at the party at the time, which is interesting to try and work out. Nevertheless, could Noah Presgrove have got Jack back by flirting or getting close to Carter Combs? You know, give and take, eye for an eye. Petty stuff which could have escalated more. And then whoever was in that side-by-side with Noah when the time came about. Now, yeah, whilst it's been mentioned here by Jack that it happened 3 a.m. onwards or so, others contested said it happened Sunday night in between, whatnot. It's a bit all over the place, but 2:40 seems to be a new timestamp what we're hearing recently, which never really heard before. But with knowing of footage, which could well be a Snapchat piece of footage which would give a timestamp, maybe it reinforces it a bit. But why has that footage not been made public? If it's not to do with the death of Noah, why is it sensitive? The shower footage, why is that sensitive? Just because of like indecent imagery if the person's not fully clothed, maybe. But whilst the common talk is, well, Noah Presgrove needed to be taken to the shower, escorted, and two of the girls, supposedly Jasmine and maybe Carter Combs, that actually helped wash Noah down. What, because Noah physically couldn't do it himself? It implies in a worse state. Maybe he's not quite there with it. Could he be dazed? Could he be disorientated? Is his decision-making impacted badly? With damage to the nose, there could be a knock. Any other knocks to area of the head, front, side? Was he dizzy, dazed? Is that why he needed help taken to the shower so he didn't fall over? It would come across like Noah could be vulnerable, most definitely injured and hurt in some way. But would that have been lasting damage to the point of when he actually died? Could it have impacted him, impaired him slightly if he had to defend himself? Or is it completely separate, but still damage done early on? At least from the autopsy, no references about a rollover causing any injuries from what I can remember, but there might have been some injuries listed on Noah's body which could link to it. As for the grass in the shoelace, would that be from Noah being dragged somewhere possibly? Could it even be to do with the side-by-side rollover if it tipped over and his legs made contact with the ground? And if it is on site of the property where it's surrounded by mostly grass, it could have led to it getting lodged in the shoelace. But for him to be in both shoes would mean both legs would have had to make contact with the ground and you would have had to been out of the vehicle. Interesting. So the important part out of it all is, why did Jack Newton play it off as if nothing bad happened, no damage, no trouble done? Because when you look at the area, right, maybe you're not going to get damaged as much, or at least the vehicle, because of the way the vegetation is, it kind of acts as a bit of a padding to break your fall or the vehicle. No hard objects about to cause any scrapage, any damages or scratches, but when it comes to Noah Presgrove having a bloodied nose, from what Kaden said, what he witnessed through that video, why did Jack Newton not say anything? Did Jack ever see that video or what? Jack Newton was the one that played down the argument on Saturday. Oh, we apologised, we cried, we made up, it was okay. And it came across as if Jack was the one who created the argument in the first place originally, the original story. So for Jack to also play it down too would mean, well, it sounds a bit manipulative, that, doesn't it? But we've recently known from what Kaden said in the private interview that it was Noah that started the argument with Jack, for Jack to play it down. It's like being the peacemaker, or just trying to say, it wasn't that bad, it was okay in the end, unless Jack was trying to minimalise it to excuse his own behaviour of supposedly flirting with Noah's girlfriend, even though that was never mentioned or acknowledged by anyone else from what I can remember hearing or seeing. But then again, let's not forget the final argument, which occurred on the Monday morning at a certain time, preferably after the side-by-side rollover. What was it about exactly? Supposedly girl trouble again. But if so, who was in the wrong? Noah for being with Carter or hanging about? The shower situation, being washed down by Carter, and Noah indirectly getting his own back on Jack to make Jack feel jealous, when earlier Jack was the one that, flirted with Noah's girlfriend somehow, somewhere, and maybe Noah felt betrayed or frustrated, eye for an eye, who knows? And then it may have escalated. Could have escalated from the side-by-side rollover with whoever was in the passenger seats were frustrated by Noah's reckless driving and decided to teach him a lesson afterwards. You never know, there's different ways of looking at it. I'd just like to know why other identities aren't mentioned, why no reference to the people being hurt or what. So there seems to be more to this side-by-side. Am I saying this is the event that killed Noah off? No, because video footage, from what Kaden said, Noah was alive. So that's something. From what a small portion of people have said online who witnessed the shower video when it was publicly viewable for a short time at some point in the past, they said, well, we didn't see Noah's face, but we saw him from the back, and he was kind of like leaning over a bit. Doesn't really give much away, but I guess implying that he's still alive. But who would think it's a good idea to record someone having, what do you call it, an intimate moment, a private moment, being washed? Who knows? I mean, if they're fully clothed or somewhat clothed, maybe not as bad, but still, you think of privacy and all that. But then again, if the HDR messing about and being drunk, maybe they're just not thinking the same, or they've got just different mindsets to others. So there's that. But really, why do you think Noah really needed a wash? Just to wash the dirt away, or to wash that blood away? And how bloodied was his nose? Was it dripping? Was it broken? Was there any blood splatters on the ground anywhere, so then people had to hose it up after? Makes you think. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. Hopefully you found this video somewhat interesting. If you'd like to share it, that would be appreciated. And if you want to hit the like button, you know, the time for something like this has finally come about. And whilst it could have been done back then, it just seems more important now with what we've heard of in between. So maybe there is a bit more focus. Maybe there is a bit more unfinished business with the side-by-side rollover. But then again, that could apply to other events too. And whilst, you know, others out there can argue and say, yeah, but we've been over this event over and over again. There's some new details that have come about, right? And then you just attach it on and look at it, it becomes more complete. The jigsaw, that's what you've got to try and fill out. There might be still some other events that are a bit of a grey area, but maybe with time we'll get to that. But, you know, this video is just like a demonstration of what one can do, you know, in a bit more of a creative way. Maybe that can apply to other topics or themes in the case, and if not, well, I can still apply it to the Kenny Veach. In regards to Kenny Veach, I do know what type of video I can do next, thankfully, and it's with credit to SB Vegas Adventures, who, you know, hiking out there is obviously very helpful, and of course being able to use some of the footage too. So even though it's a completely different case, you know, if you are interested and in certain hike footage, be sure to check out SB Vegas Adventures on YouTube. You'll see the channel over there. But yeah, the next video will be to do with a mine shaft and a map analysis, because in terms of some details regarding it, it's very important, and it could link with Kenny, who knows, and it might reinforce certain theories what people have had in the past, but that will come soon. Just be on the lookout for it. Thanks to those that did watch the video and those that managed to stick around from start to finish. I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before, but like when it comes to this case, and I guess the community, you know, conflict drama elsewhere mainly is going to happen. I'm not surprised by that. I'm not really bothered by that, because I've seen how it can come about and how it passes. But it's just, once again, it's good how, even though you might transition, well, me personally, transition from one case to another, maybe some people follow and other people don't, but then you come across different set of people. And whilst nothing is like planned or anything like that, and it's just natural, it just happens that you're put in a place or come across a group where might have the same sense of humour or patience or understanding, whatever. And in a way, it's very lucky to experience that. So shout out to all the people come across, and even those in the background as well. You know, never expected that, so that's all good. So we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching. Be on the lookout for the future videos, and yeah, goodbye.